Part 15. Adopting Zayd ibn Haritha. Zayd ibn Haritha was from a Yemeni tribe, descending from the Qahtani branch of the Arabs, not the Adnani branch. Zayd's parents were from two different tribes in Yemen who would sometimes be in conflict. In one particular skirmish, his relatives from his father's tribe kidnapped him and sold him into slavery. He was sold in the souk of Ukaz, the largest marketplace in pre-Islamic Arabia, to Hakim ibn Hizam, Khadijah's nephew, on her behalf. When Khadijah married the Prophet, she gifted Zayd to him, and he became the Prophet's servant. Over a decade had passed, and Zayd's father, Haritha, was still frantically looking for his son. One day a man recognized Zayd's Yemeni features, and word eventually reached Haritha, who made his way to Mecca. He found the Prophet, though this was before his prophethood, and said,
"O Muhammad, grandson of Abd al-Muttalib, you are a noble man of noble lineage, and you are from a people of trustworthiness."
He continued to praise the Prophet before requesting that he return his son. The Prophet replied, "I will let Zayd decide. If he chooses you, I will return him without any ransom. But if he chooses me, then I can never turn away someone who has turned to me." His father was overjoyed, and praised the Prophet for going above and beyond what was asked. The Prophet had genuine love and affinity for Zayd, and the laws of Jahiliyyah allowed him to refuse, but the Prophet's morality was above the laws of Jahiliyyah, even prior to his prophethood. He called Zayd, who by now was in his 20s, to decide. Zayd instantaneously chose the Prophet, saying,
"I can never choose anyone over you, for you are more than a father and uncle combined."
This astonishing response could only ever occur with a prophet, for the bond of a prophet is the only bond stronger than that of parenthood. Haritha grew exasperated.
"Zayd, have you lost your mind? You prefer to remain a slave to a man who is not your kin rather than return with your own father to your own tribe?"
Zayd responded,
"I stick to my choice, for I have seen from this man that which prevents me from choosing anyone over him."
Upon hearing his response, the Prophet took Zayd to the Kaaba and announced, "O people of Mecca, I want you all to testify that Zayd is a free man, and I have adopted him as my son. He will inherit from me, and I will inherit from him." He became known henceforth as Zayd ibn Muhammad. Over 30 years later, Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of Umar ibn al-Khattab, recalled,
"I never knew of any other name for Zayd, other than Zayd ibn Muhammad, until Allah revealed verse 5 of Surah Al-Ahzab."
The verse in question states,
"Let your adopted children keep their family names. That is more just in the sight of Allah." Surah 33, verse 5.
The Prophet then changed his name back to Zayd ibn Haritha. Zayd was married to Ayman, the servant of the Prophet's mother, Amina. Their child was born in the house of the Prophet, the famous Usama ibn Zayd. Usama was so beloved to the Prophet that whenever the companions wanted something from the Prophet, they would ask Usama to ask on their behalf, as the Prophet could not resist Usama's requests. He was nicknamed the Prophet's beloved, son of the Prophet's beloved. When Abdullah ibn Umar asked his then caliph father, Umar ibn al-Khattab, why his salary was lower than that of Usama ibn Zayd, Umar responded,
"Because he was more beloved to the messenger of Allah than you, and his father, that is Zayd, was more beloved to the messenger of Allah than yours, that is Umar himself."
The biggest blessing attributed to Zayd ibn Haritha is that he is the only companion ever to be mentioned in the Quran by name. Surah 33, verse 37. The Prophet's best friend Abu Bakr was only ever mentioned by inference. Surah 9, verse 40. The Prophet sent Zayd on at least 10 expeditions, and he was the commander in each of them. No one ever commanded Zayd regardless of age, which demonstrates the high status given to him by the Prophet. He was eventually martyred in the Battle of Mu'tah, a fierce battle against the Romans. Aisha declared,
"If Zayd had been alive when the Prophet died, he would have been chosen as caliph."